So CoroCoro was a disappointment this month, but we still have a lot to look forward next month. But in the meantime, let's discuss the anime.
Pokemon! 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 Pokemon!
Hello everyone, I'm Dustin Binzel, and welcome to another Pokemon anime discussion. Pokemon anime discussion because this is in relation to the next generation anime in regards to Sun and Moon when Sun and Moon series comes out. Probably sometime the end of the year at some point or whatever. So, like I said in my intro, basically, CoroCoro was definitely a disappointment. At the time, I was completely like, why? What? What? Why are we not getting information? But the more I thought about it, and I didn't make a video about this or whatever until now, sorry about that, but after thinking about it, I realized that maybe the announcement of Sun and Moon may have been a last-minute thing. I mean, obviously there was enough time to announce it, but what I mean is, in regards for CoroCoro, it was too late for CoroCoro to make this big announcement about Sun and Moon. Therefore, there wasn't really anything in CoroCoro. Now, maybe I'm completely wrong, and Nintendo and Game Freak and all those conspiring together decided to make CoroCoro be like, nope, not this month, next month maybe. But in the off chance the Sun and Moon's announcement in the 20th anniversary video was merely just a last minute change, I mean, they made it enough so they could reveal it. But in regards to CoroCoro, I don't know how long in advance that they do the magazine for. I don't know how many how long it takes to make a magazine enough for publication or something like that. I don't know if there's like a set amount of magazines that they have to print. So, of course, unfortunately, they didn't have very much. What I do think is that they did have just enough, and here's an image of it right here, and it basically says that next month we will get a lot of Sun and Moon information. Apparently, we're going to get like possibly gameplay images or new Pokemon potentially. So I can't wait for that so we can get some speculation going on, and I will definitely be making a video then. Speaking of, I think next month is also going to be Pokemon Fan. Is that about right? I don't think there was anything. I don't think there's anything this month because last month was Pokemon Fan. Let me just go to my channel real quick and see when I uploaded my Pokemon Fan magazine. Yeah, 3 weeks ago, Pokemon Fan February. So next month as well is potentially going to be Pokemon Fan too. So I can't wait. Because that'll definitely be all new episodes since we don't have anything in regards to the X, Y, and Z series. Speaking of the X, Y, and Z series, there is going to be a new ending theme, Drea by Serena, or her voice actress, I'm assuming, which is Mayuki Makiguchi, I think. That doesn't really sound right. Yeah, okay, that's right. Okay, I never even saw that before, even though I've seen the VA list many times. And I didn't know Serena's voice actress. That is sad. So, yeah, that's all I wanted to say right now. But anyway, what we're going to talk about in this particular video is, of course, how Sun and Moon is probably going to affect the anime. Now, I think we can basically guarantee almost that Ash is going to go to the next region, wherever Sun and Moon takes place. Hopefully, we'll know the region's name in April when CoroCoro comes out. So that we can at least call it a region instead of Sun and Moon region or something like that. So I think we can guarantee that Ash is probably going to go there. He very well may catch that bird Pokemon that's here that we saw the wireframe of it or whatever. He'll probably catch that. I don't know of anything of the starters. See, I don't want to speculate what Ash is going to get until I see the starters, because I mean, even then, it doesn't really matter. But I want some sort of probability thing here. I mean, it seemed almost guaranteed that Ash was going to get a Froakie when it came out, even though I wanted all the other three, because Froakie seemed like the one that was most connected to Ash, based on what we were going to get. I mean, we didn't know. I don't think we knew Ash's traveling companions or whatever, but we had pretty much a guarantee that Ash was probably going to get Froakie based on the trailer that we got. Probably Froakie was like being like a really awesome and cool looking Pokemon, and Chespin and Fennekin were kind of like that. I mean, Chespin was also a possibility because it was a grass starter, and Ash usually caught grass starters, and Fennekin was a little iffy. And then, of course, Serena showed up in the anime promotion, so then, of course, we thought Fennekin would go to her, even though I strongly disagreed with that choice. I would preferred her with Chespin because it would have been the first female traveling companion with the grass starter, not counting May's Bulbasaur because that wasn't her starter that she chose. It was just a starter that was given to her later on. So yeah, so I think we're going to guarantee that Ash is probably going to go to the next generation. Now, because of fifth generation, I don't know what Ash's traveling companions are going to be. I don't know if there's going to be siblings within the actual games that will translate into anime, like Clement and Bonnie. May did have a brother, and that was for sibling stuff or whatever. But the thing about May or Max is that he really wasn't in the games, not counting the school kid or whatever that we saw around or whatever that got a battle that kind of resembled Max, but not really. So I don't know exactly what's going to happen in regards to traveling companions. I don't know if he's going to travel with gym leaders or something like that. Like fifth generation, both Silent and Iris were technically gym leaders for the most part within the games. I can't remember if it was black or white, where Iris was the stand-in gym leader for that game, while Drayden was the official main gym leader of the other game or whatever. So I don't know. So I don't know if it's going to be like that, or they're going to throw in another female traveling companion or something like that. What I would like, however, and I don't really think this is going to be a big possibility, is because it would be something completely different, and maybe that's why it could happen, is because it's something completely different. But how about the male traveling companion not be a gym leader, but how about the male traveling companion? And maybe the female traveling companion could be like the gym leader or something like that. Kind of like Iris, but more like Silent and Clement. Not quite like Brock, because Brock really wasn't a gym leader pretty much for after he started joining Ash and deciding that he wasn't going to be a gym leader anymore. So, and Misty only was a gym leader because of her sisters. So something more like Clement, where Ash will eventually battle this female gym leader, but in otherwise it just travels with him. And what they could do is give her a secondary goal, kind of like contests or Pokemon showcases, if they really need a female doing something or another. Otherwise, I'm going to think they're probably going to do the same thing as they typically do, starting with the third generation, fourth generation, sixth generation, is just have the female traveling companion traveling with Ash. It would be nice if the male traveling companion was the player character, the male player character in the games, just to shake things up. I don't. You know what would be really cool is if we actually got siblings in the games, and we got older siblings in Sun and Moon, and they were the gym leader of a different city, so we could go and visit our sister or brother in the gym or whatever, be like, hey bro, hey sis, depending on what gender we are or whatever it is. And it would be cool if they actually implemented that in the anime. The closest we ever got was Norman being our father in the games and being the fifth gym leader. So it'd actually be kind of cool if we had siblings, and that way it would actually add a certain dynamic to the group with Ash and company, because the sibling could be like well, not really ashamed of their sibling, but afraid um, uh, to show their face around the sibling. Maybe there's like a sibling rivalry or something like that. So we kind of get something like what happened with May, and she was kind of avoiding the fact that her father was a gym leader. We can kind of get that with our traveling companion of Ash or whatever. So that'd be interesting. In regards to Pokemon captures, what I really want is Unova, but done right. And what that means is I want Ash to capture quite a bit of Pokemon, but not too much. Not like Unova, but, just something that he can, like, rotate a couple of things or whatever. Maybe, like, 6 or 7 Pokemon or something like that. Maybe even counting Pikachu or not, depending on the circumstances, would be really nice to see. And he could rotate a couple of stuff, and it could be off screen like Unova did, and then it would be like important or something like that. Ash doesn't have to capture all the starters, although that'll depend entirely on what the starters look like, whether or not I want them to do what I wanted them to do in 6th generation, what they did for 5th generation. But I guess it'll just depend on what the starters look like. So, um, if Ash isn't going to capture any other Pokemon this generation, current generation of 6th generation, what I'd like to see is maybe Ash capturing a really early, awesome, different start type that he hasn't had. Like if there's like an early fairy type of some sort or whatever, let Ash capture that, because that'd be an interesting thing to have that going. Um, but there's really not a lot that I can say. What I'm really hoping is that he'll get a water Pokemon, whether it's the starter or something like that, and that'll definitely be used against that gym-looking thing. Here's an image of the thing that looks like a water type gym or something like that, and then maybe we can get something like what happened with Weasel or something. I can't think if there is any other water gyms. There was like Misty, but Ash didn't use Squirtle because I don't think Ash had Squirtle at that point. 2nd generation, I don't think had any water type gyms. 3rd generation, I don't think there was any water type gyms. Let's see. And then, of course, 4th generation was, of course, Crash or Wake, and of course that's where we got Weasel. So if there is going to be a water type gym this generation, I'm hoping that Ash's potential water type, if he gets one, will be used against said gym. In regards to what I said about the fairy type, I want to make an exception, and that's if Ash's starter Pokemon happens to also be part fairy. If the starter dual types, if they're doing dual types, and one of the Pokemon evolves into a fairy, and that's what Ash gets, then of course I can just ignore that in regards to the fairy typing or whatever. But otherwise, yeah, it'd be really nice if Ash got a fairy type standalone. No, well, not necessarily a non-evolving Pokemon, but separate from a starter or something like that that could like develop or whatever. So I can't really speculate on what Ash is going to get. I don't know what the pacing is going to be. I'm guessing they're going to keep doing something like this, and potentially the next generation after 7th generation is maybe in 2019 or 2020 or something like that. So if that's the case, then probably I would expect the similar pacing in regards to the gyms in next generation. Only saying that much. We shouldn't be talking about the generation after 7th generation yet, but in regards to pacing, I expect the first gym battle to be within the first 10 episodes of the new series, kind of like how it's always been, with the exception of, I think, 4th generation was very late. It was like the 16th episode or something like that. So I expect within the first 10 weeks to be the first gym battle. So hopefully we'll get stuff. So yeah, it was the 15th episode was the first gym and 4th gym. So So yeah, something like that. First 10 episodes will probably get the gym leader and stuff like that. I really don't expect Ash to know his traveling companions beforehand, like Serena. I think Serena may have just been a one-off, just to make it a little bit more interesting or whatever. Outside of that, I don't really know what they're gonna do. Maybe they'll introduce transportation. Maybe there'll be like teleportation devices within the anime or something like that. So maybe they can like travel between big cities a lot quickly, so that maybe more storylines can be around. Although that's completely out of nothing or whatever, just based on the vehicles we see. But maybe if this next generation is more, I don't know if industrial is the right word, but more heavy, like more cityscape like that, where there's a lot of roads and cars and vehicles going along. Maybe there'll be like more vehicles within the anime. Maybe there'll be like a fire, and we'll get that Blastoise fire truck thing or whatever. I don't know if Ash is actually going to capture anything that could mega evolve or anything like that. I think it would depend entirely on whether or not they actually want to give Ash a past generation Pokemon, or Game Freak actually wants to give Mega Evolution type um, forms to the current generation that they're in. Like one of the things I think that was argued for sixth generation is that sixth generation Pokemon didn't have Mega Evolutions because they were brand new, and only past Pokemon were the meeting of the refreshed concept of Mega Evolution. So I don't know what's going to happen there. Um, it depends on entirely if the new Pokemon have Mega Evolution type forms. Maybe Mega Evolution will be a lot more common in this particular region. Sixth generation introduced it. It was a new concept. It's not new, so maybe they'll just like over abuse it a little bit. Not quite in the seventh generation games. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see what that would look like. I don't think we're going to get a fifth generation where we're just going to get like basically a reboot and just nothing but of that Pokemon, because of the Pokemon that we see within the games already. We saw a lot of current past generation Pokemon within the gameplay images or screens that we got, or concept arts or whatever. Like Blastoise we saw Horsey, we saw a statue of Horsey and stuff. So I think it's going to be like most other generations for the most part, where you can capture past generation Pokemon just as easily as the new Pokemon. What I'm hoping is they at least include 100 new species of Pokemon to make up for their 70 Pokemon or whatever it was for fifth or sixth generation, and that was very lacking. So at least 100. I'm hoping for like quite a few three stage Pokemon, basic, middle, final, so that maybe Ash can get one of those Pokemon and like fully evolve it or something like that. Uh, Outside of that, I'm not really sure. That's all I can pretty much say right now. I can't really think of anything more. I don't know if they're going to introduce a little bit of this at the end of this particular generation. You know, like how we had Go-Goat, Noivern, and Helioptile in fifth generation. I don't know if they're going to do that, or they're going to do something similar to the transition of fourth generation to fifth generation. Now, of course, that was because they were trying to do a complete reboot and not counting the Zoroark and Zorua movie. I don't know if they're just going to like just transition. What I expect is if the league is going to be the last major event of this generation, and it's not going to be until like fall that we get the Pokemon League, I expect maybe one of the league competitors to actually have a seventh generation Pokemon. So yeah, I think that's pretty much all I can really say right now in regards to my thoughts of what could happen. I was really hoping that CoroCoro was going to reveal something so that so I could have a little bit more speculation, like in regards to the starters and the legendaries. Maybe I can like come up with some ideas there, but just with what information that we have, all I can give you is what I hope could happen. And right now, I'm not really sure I can give you the best hope I can get in regards to the next anime because we don't have a lot of information. But like I said, the only thing that I can really expect at this moment in time is that Ash potentially gets that bird Pokemon that we saw within the concept art with the wireframe of the announcement trailer. So that's really the only thing I can really say that I can expect. Of course, what I would like is multiple bird Pokemon to be introduced, and even though they're probably not going to do this, it was still nice if they introduced multiple bird Pokemon, and instead of giving Ash the most basic bird Pokemon he can get, maybe give him one of the more unique flying types or whatever. But I guess it would depend entirely on the Pokemon that we get. So what I'm really hoping is that the spoilers that we get for the anime promotion for Sun and Moon, which will probably be likely, I hope they don't quite reveal too much of what any of the characters are going to get, so that way when Sun and Moon do come out, then we can everyone can speculate better of what they want Ash's team to be like, and hopefully there will be like quite a bit of time between the games revealing and leaking and all the Pokemon that are revealed to when the anime starts before we can decide what Pokemon Ash is going to get. I mean, I won't necessarily have a problem at that particular time if they reveal the starters that Ash may or may not catch or whatever. But I mean, like in regards to flying Pokemon or anything more, I don't want to see Pikachu battling against the regional bird Pokemon and then make it seem like Ash is going to get that, because I would like to see the full roster of Pokemon that come out before guessing. I will say, however, when new Pokemon are revealed, and hopefully we'll get like maybe 5 or 10 or 15 Pokemon, depending on how many Pokemon there will actually be in the games. Hopefully, I will speculate and I will say whether or not I think it's likely that said Pokemon will actually appear with Ash or something like that because of Noivern. Any Pokemon that's revealed in 6th generation at the end, kind of like how Noivern showed up in 5th generation anime, I will go ahead and say that it might be a possibility depending on it. I will give my thoughts and opinions of whether or not it would be cool to have that Pokemon on Ash's team or whether or not I expect it. But of course, a lot of this will rely heavily on the Pokemon that are revealed. And just as that note, as I go back to what I said about Ash capturing Pokemon, what I do not want is a repeat of 6th generation. I want Ash with a full team. If Ash has a full team, go ahead and drop a Pokemon and replace it. But what I would like is like before or right after the 5th gym that Ash has a full team. And if a Pokemon is dropped for another Pokemon, that is fine. But if a Pokemon is going to be dropped, Ash better be capturing a Pokemon a few episodes after that. What I don't want is what they're doing with 6th generation, and we don't know what is going to happen with Ash's team. At this point, there's a lot of merchandise saying that Goodra might return, and maybe that's what will happen, and that'll be Ash's full team. But what I don't want is Ash perpetually to only have 5 Pokemon. I don't know if they did this because they just didn't want to animate 6 Pokemon with Ash, or whatever the circumstances is, but when you don't count Pikachu because it's always there, Ash only having 4 generation critters of that particular generation Pokemon, it's a little frustrating to see. I mean, right now, looking at Ash's team, it looks very lacking because Pikachu doesn't count, but we also have to take in consideration that all he has is Greninja, Talonflame, Noivern, and Hawlucha, which is great, but there isn't a lot of variety there because it's just basically 4 generation Pokemon of the current generation, which is very upsetting. So I really want a full team. They could do what they did with 4th generation and give Ash a full team before the 3rd gym or whatever. Drop that Pokemon for new Pokemon later on, just as long as the pacing's a little bit better. like Gibble would have been caught before the 7th gym and maybe used for the final gym if that was what it was going to do. Also, hopefully, what I hope is that they avoid whatever Ash is going to capture last. I hope it's not weak against the last gym, whatever it is. You know, Noivern currently is Ash's last Pokemon that he caught as a Noibat, and it's like 4 times weak against Ice. I feel like if they give Noivern the right proper move, it'll do well against Wolfric, but hopefully they can avoid that by giving Ash a neutral type or a advantageous type and be used. Because, like, even in 4th generation, Gibble was caught, but it wasn't used against an electric gym, and it would have made sense, but I feel like they just didn't want there to be, like, a 4-on-4, so they just wanted to hurry up and get Volkner over with, which was kind of disappointing, because Torterra did absolutely nothing in that, and Torterra has done nothing. So it was kind of disappointing to see that, but that's all I think I can say right now in regards to Sun and Moon anime. At this particular moment, I don't know if they're going to reveal Sun and Moon anime at any time. I would guess, personally, that any Sun and Moon anime would probably be announced August, September, somewhere around there, depending on when the release dates come out. So when CoroCoro comes out next month and reveals the release date of Sun and Moon, then I'll have a better idea of when they'll probably market the anime based on past generations of what they've done in regards to the anime. So anyway, thank you for watching. I'm Dustin Benzel, and I will see you, which will be my Pokemon review of the first episode of Master Class sometime soon. So I will see you then. Goodbye.